Well, hello. Let's discuss calories and the difference between a maintenance diet and a growth diet. The biggest problems you're going to find with maintenance is that you can't be eating more than what you need to maintain. If you eat too much, that will cause you to grow. If you eat too little, that will cause you to do quite the opposite. Now, I'm taking for granted here and teaching from the standpoint of a healthy diet. If you're eating a proper balanced diet angled towards what you need to do, for example, higher protein for those of us who need to maintain higher muscle mass, and for those who are just trying to maintain maybe a balanced diet more, and there's those who are on a more of a heavy carb diet but can maintain a healthy weight on that. I'm not one of those, but I'm not going to get into the differences between diets and how our bodies work. Now, for maintenance, you need to be eating just what your body needs to maintain. It's in the name, maintenance. The problem here is that a lot of us will slip into, well, I don't need to lose weight anymore, so I'm going to eat unhealthy foods. This is a problem, and that's not a true maintenance diet. You'll put on weight. If you alter the structure of your diet and the nutrients you're taking in, this can bite you in the butt. Now, on the same side, the growth diet, if you include the wrong stuff with the diet, for example, if you're eating high carbs, lots of sweets, lots of processed food, guess what? You are going to wind up, well, you're going to grow, but it's not going to be the way you want to. You need to have a calorie surplus to grow. Your body has to have a greater pool of calories coming in to take from in order to grow. The wrong stuff won't help you grow muscle so much. If you're burning it by working out, you can still build muscle on an unhealthy diet. It's just not going to be the right quality or amounts that you're looking to. And one of the big problems here, for me personally, is that I don't maintain very well. I can drop weight, I can gain weight, but maintaining, the problem is that if I do just the wrong kind of maintenance, I get weaker. I notice that I've lost weight. I might start to put a little on it if it's not stuff I can use, and my muscles tend to show the problem there. Now, you can, on a lower calorie diet, gain weight if you're losing muscle mass and you're putting more on as fat. Certain foods will not work very well or provide you the necessary ingredients to build muscle, which means your muscles can grow weaker. You can't just eat X amount of random calories, have it all go towards muscle. Now, if you're on anything that might say alter how your body takes in nutrients, some partitioning going on there, you might, on a lower calorie diet, if it's really unhealthy, notice that you're accumulating more flab while your muscles are shrinking because you're not feeding the muscle, but you're giving your body calories it can't use, essentially, that it's storing. This is one of our dangers of junk food, but I'm not going to get into that here. Now, as far as growth, you need a calorie surplus, but unless you're wanting to just grow horizontally, which I do not recommend, I've done that and it is not worth it. I recommend, as far as the protein and the other bits that you actually need if you're building muscle, you need to make sure you have the right kind of calories coming in. Now, calories in, calories out is, as many other influencers have shown, not a bad system. It's the right system, I think. But the sort of calories, you kind of need to tweak it in a little bit. You want higher protein, even in a low-calorie diet. You want the higher protein to keep the muscles going, keep them from, well, being eaten to be consumed for the good of the body. Now, for growth, you need to provide extra, but the extra that feeds the sort of growth you're wanting. If you're working out like crazy and all you're eating are cinnamon rolls, that's not going to go the way you want. At a certain point, your muscles are going to just start literally eating themselves to get the nutrients they need. And your body's going to have a bunch of extra calories it can't really use for the muscles. One calorie is not the same as the other. They are not created equal. So what I actually recommend here is maintenance versus growth. You know what it is your goals are. And then educate yourself. There's tons of videos on here for what kind of protein intake you're going to need, what kind of carb intake is best, what kind of fat intake. There's so many different videos. Educate yourself, test to see what works, talk to your doctor, get your blood work done. Just know the difference between, well, I'm eating a healthy diet, or am I not building muscle? Maybe you're so far into maintenance that your body is just barely hanging on to where it's at. and you're not putting in the extra to get to those good goals, or maybe your diet's crap, and that's why. Maybe for growth, you're noticing you're putting on fat and the muscle's not really catching up. Maybe what you're eating isn't feeding the right kind of growth. You need to know what different foods do in the body and, well, the benefits and potential problems you get with different sorts of diets. Don't just fall for one diet. Don't just go for, well, this system works for so-and-so. Talk to your doctor. Find out what your base metabolic rate is. Also, sometimes how you feel can be a huge thing. If you don't have the energy to go to the gym, but you're eating what should be in growth, maybe what you're eating isn't giving you the energy you need. Now, I'm not selling supplements or anything else here, so this is just one thing I've noticed that I wanted to pass on to everybody else. If you're on anything like any sort of a enhancement supplement of any kind, I believe that you guys know the kind I'm talking about, that might change things. Maybe you know that guy that slams some anabolic and he can eat pretty much anything he wants all the time. I mean, we all know somebody like that, but once he stops taking the anabolic, if he ever does, oh boy, he's in for a bad time. So what you need to make sure is you not only know what's going on there, but understand a lot of the diets you see the pros use. Most of the pros, yeah, they're 1 in a million, sometimes 1 in a billion genetically. But the biggest problem there is their diet, their supplementation, everything, including the AAS they're taking or anything else. You really run into the problem of your average Joe on the street doesn't have access to the same kinds of, I would say, resources, but also metabolic altering substances. Like for me, for example, I can't afford to go spend $1,000 a month on any kind of a hormonal supplement or anything else, any AS. So my growth is going to be far different from someone who, say, is on a blast or even a cruise stack of any sort of an enhancement supplement. And if you're looking at the pros, well, I want to do that. If you have the genetics for it, proceed with caution and care and educate yourself. If you're like me and you don't have those genetics, you don't need to run that sort of abuse on your body. You're not going to respond. You're going to be paying a lot of money a month to look a lot worse than somebody else. Go natty. That way you don't have to worry about the effects of the hormones. Read up on the supplements. Read up on what stuff actually does. Read up on the studies. Educate yourself. Because in this day and age, we have devices that have the sum of human knowledge in the palm of our hands all throughout the day, typically. Why we can't take that and then use that, I don't know, because it should be possible. So educate yourselves, and let's get this New Year's resolution thing going.